Hi there! Today we're going to take a quick look at something called speed learning. But before we do so, let's just give everyone a brief understanding of what speed learning is. Basically, it's learning something, getting it as close to performance ready, or if not performance ready, as possible within a very tight timeline. Now, a real life situation of that would be if you are accompanying for a choir, or another instrumentalist, a singer, and you get the call the night before, or in some cases, the morning of the performance. You basically need to manage your time extremely effectively, otherwise the job just doesn't get done. There's a few things that we've got here today. I got my handy timeline here. Speaking of timelines. So first off, you have to have a very clear sense of what your timeline is. So we are going to say that this has to be ready for me to teach this afternoon. And there's other things that I need to be doing, office work, getting this ready to go, errands, so forth and so on. So I don't have all day up to the time that I teach to get this ready. So first thing, after we define that, is to set milestones. So let's see here. We have this piece here that I've pulled out, and one of my students is working on this. I actually have not had a chance to sit down and play through it. So that is one thing that I will do. Now, so we have to set some milestones. I'm suspecting my student will probably play through the first 12 bars the next lesson. So I will really zoom in on those. And, you know, if you have limited time, the thing is frequency. So you have to establish mini practices, really short practices. So I've got this timer here, and I've set it for a minute. So I'm going to give myself 1 minute practices. And I will come back to it after working on something else and get that frequency that you would normally get if you had several weeks to prepare something. Now there's a couple of strategies that you can do. One is to actually just sight read it through to get the lay of the land, and if there's time, practice it. Ideally there's time, and then get it to the point where you can actually perform that. The other option that you could try is to study the score and identify those trouble spots and work on those first, and then bring it up to performance ready. I've got the timer ready. It's going to do a minute, and I'm going to try sight reading the first 12 bars. So we will see how long it actually takes me to get through that, and how well I can manage my 1 minute. And we're off. Sight reading, don't worry if you've got all the notes. It's now off. My timer's up, and I had just barely gotten to bar 6. You can see the folly of this, or the weak spot of the sight reading strategy in a 1 minute power mini practice. We will now try the other way, which is to zoom in on those treble spots. For those of you who recognize it, yes, it's Bach. So there's lots and lots of little treble spots, lots of jumping, lots of ties to watch out for. So some rhythmic things that have to be worked out. So I am going to identify a few of those spots. Thankfully though, with this prelude, there's quite a few repeating patterns. Okay. Now I remember from sight reading that I didn't have too much of an issue at the beginning. So I'll zoom in on line 2. I'll set the timer again. And hopefully this time with the 1 minute practice, I'll actually have a section that would be rather performance ready. Whereas with the sight reading method, nothing was performance ready because I barely got through sight reading. 1 minute. Okay, let's look at bar 3. So I'm just going to run through that a little bit more. Okay. The other thing that's running through my brain is I'm looking for patterns and the chords. Okay, that one wasn't too bad. That trill I messed up in bar 5. Alright, now that minute's up. So let's see if, bar 1 to 6 at least is a bit more performance ready than it was with the first time around, which was an absolute no. Okay, so from the top. But I'm also sight reading at this point too. Alright, so after 1 minute, you can see that after drilling a couple of spots there was a significant improvement. And tempo-wise, let's just see how close I was to performance speed. And so, animated alligator. So I was a little under tempo, but quite a bit faster, or at least significantly faster than that sight reading speed that I had established. That would be a good time to actually stop and go do something else. And then after working on something else, be it another piece or a technical exercise, checking your email, you probably don't want to do something that's going to take you away and distract you from this for hours at a time. So I do not recommend going up to play 1 round of your favorite video game. Been there, done that. 7 hours pass and then you're out of time. So just to recap, if you are speed learning, you need to have a very clear sense of your timeline. So if you know that you only have that 1 minute, figure out how much you can get really good in that 1 minute. And don't bite off more than you can chew. Set your milestones. So I knew I had 1 minute and I was trying to get through 12 bars. Well, we learned that 1 minute, 12 bars, not quite enough. But the 6 bars, definitely. I was able to make progress with that. And then you can just count yourself backwards with your timeline. So if next time I'm going to work on the next 6 bars and I have 1 minute. So then I can kind of keep an eye on how many seconds I need to spend on each bar, or each 2 bars. Now, hopefully you will spend a bit longer than a minute, but I had to present an extreme situation for you, because I'm sure you don't want to sit here and listen to an entire practice. Mini practices frequently. So you can do 10 1-minute practices, or 5 5-minute practices. It all depends on your level of playing, the difficulty of the piece, and when's that deadline. And then there was those 2 main strategies there, so sight reading, and then hopefully there would be time to drill problem spots and then perform. Or the other way was to study the music, only practice those really hard parts, and then do your run through. There's one thing that I didn't mention yet, and that is how important it is to play along with a recording in this type of situation. So if you hop onto YouTube and it's a song that's on there, or you have a CD or MP3 player with your song on it, if you can try playing along to it at that crazy fast tempo. And it doesn't matter if you're missing 90% of the notes, you just have to get used to the feel and the steadiness of that beat, and get a really good feel on that rhythm. So your timing is critical, tune is critical, not missing your downbeat with that left hand, if most likely it's the left hand that's keeping time. The main point of the exercise is to just get it so that you can play through without missing a beat, and to get you off that track of trying to get everything note perfect. In any situation, getting it note perfect isn't the end-all be-all. It's getting the point across. So you want that steady beat that your audience can latch onto. You want that tune to be recognizable, not stuttering. You want your rhythm to be recognizable. So if you're pausing, it's tempo and rhythm are very connected. If those aren't secure, it's really hard for the audience and for you to stay on track. Now, there is also another thing to keep very close tabs on when you're doing this and any type of practicing, and that is to just know where you are in the piece. Especially with running through with a recording, if you miss a bar and don't repeat that bar, you need to move on to the next bar. Otherwise you get that stuttering effect. Now, I hope that's enough to get you started with speed learning, and if you do a few quick studies and try to beef up your repertoire that way, you will actually notice an improvement in how long it takes to learn your normal pieces. And you'll find that you'll learn pieces in general far more quickly, which is good, because you never know when you're going to be asked to play.